I'm Denise Tennen, sculptor, musician, dancer, poet. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality. That first stanza by Emily Dickinson captures something evocative about death. At the same time, the older I get, the more I get to dance with death as an actuality. For some reason, I carry this fear that my work will kill somebody. This is the image that came up when I Googled sculptures that fell on people. It's created by artists Sun Yuan and Peng Yu. Why? Why are you afraid? This is a question my homeopath asked. Her simple question, asked without agenda other than to know me, to know my underpinnings, unlocked something. When I asked about my only missing grandparent, my father's father, I was told that one day, when he was at his medical clinic in occupied Poland, he opened the door at the wrong time and was killed. Something terrible can happen for a reason, for no reason at any time. When I was older, I was told he was killed because he'd refused to perform experiments on humans. Then he opened the door at the wrong time. So, a happy day. I'm wearing the only maternity shirt I ever owned. I'm with a man I love, Michael O'Sullivan, musician, philosopher, father of our son-to-be. We've been together for 4 years. We're committed to a lifetime together. We're planning to live to at least 100. As artists, we support each other while raising our son, Ari. Together, we're aligned in our intent to raise him to do what he wants to do. During this time, I begin my pedestal series. I'm seeking a good way to have my biomorphic sculptures meet the ground. As the series progresses, Michael's diagnosed with kidney cancer, a diagnosis he rejects, and he strives to become well by alternate means, and we remain hopeful. Although he'd gotten thinner, he also, for a period of time, gets stronger. While coping with the arc of Michael's quest for restored health, we kept busy with our lives as parents, our lives as artists. I took refuge in my work. Several of my sculptures from this time begin to look like silent screams. Ever open to his life being in so welcome the fact that his deepening bodily hollows provided inspiration for my sculptures. The way his skin stretched between protruding bones brought newly visible patterns to his hands, to his rib cage. Echoes of these patterns appeared in my work. By the time he died, he weighed 85 pounds. Having a 6-year-old to raise, I was more grateful than ever for the supportive community in which I live. Even in the face of death, new buds grow. Paradoxically, the loss of Michael helped me be less afraid of life. His death and the support of my friend, and now many years later, husband Ken Fox, propelled me into new territory. With Ken's can-do approach to the physical environment, I was willing to take new risks. With his abilities and greatness, I, albeit with some fears, started to make larger work. The fear still lingered, but I didn't let it stop me. This wall fountain created for Chrysalis is named Harmony and dedicated in memory of my son's dad, Michael O'Sullivan. We nearly fumed out our next door neighbor with the, what was that stuff called? Ken, epoxy, don't use it. Celebrate the art, Celebrate the Arts at Wildwood was designed to be moved. This required new techniques for us. I was surprised to find myself approaching this without fear. By the time of the in 2013, we were married, and our time capsule wish that had been put in the paintbrush came true. Obama won. Our lives changed again when we visited my independent and capable mother for her 87th birthday, January 2014. I hadn't noticed when we saw her for Thanksgiving, but by January she was down 40 pounds, skeletal and frightened. By 2016, Ken had remodeled our home so we could bring her from New York to live with us in Minnesota. Being with us, she rebounded somewhat, enough so I could get back into the studio for stretches of time. I revisited the Pedestals Now Attitude series to reflect their emotional character. Bone-like forms replaced the former structure. Looking at my attitudes now, I see the range of emotion as I lived alongside my mother. She was clearly facing death ahead. Yowza. When my mother died in October 2019, I started writing about death, my early experiences with death. And I found, when I looked at the family tree on my father's side, I had a surprising discovery. I always thought the family was really small, with Ari being the last in the Tenenbaum line. But when I looked at the genealogy site this time, I was surprised to find that a mystery Tenenbaum descendant had added in a whole lot of other people. My grandfather had had siblings. He was one of 8, and 6 of them had children. Both sobering and thrilling was a discovery that those siblings died. The oldest, Frederica, had survived, along with numerous descendants. Everything about this just blows my mind. This picture I've had around all my life. This picture I received in the last month. Frederica's great-great-great-grandson filled in the family tree. His father knows the family stories. Hearing those stories will be the next chapter for me. As I muse on this story of my family, of life, death, survival, and loss, memory, and connection, I've embarked on a new sculpture series, The Travelers. They're the latest evolution of my poetry orbs, and I created